welcome to Policing TV, the third in three videos that I'm recording with Dr. Amanda Davies. Amanda, video one, we looked at your background and experience in Australia, in the Gulf, and in Southeast Asia. Video two, we focused on the specific work that you're doing at the moment as the guest editor for a special Oxford University Press issue on simulation-based learning for police education. And in this video, we're just going to take the opportunity to draw on your experience to get your views on what the big challenges and opportunities, are for policing, but specifically in the educational field. So, with that as the exam question, if I can put it like that, your thoughts on some of the big challenges and opportunities that there are out there that might be of interest to our viewers.
Thank you, Bernard. It is a really interesting exam question. Thank you for that. I think actually the challenges and the opportunities join together. Globally, I've seen within the police education sphere that there has been a commitment to addressing some of the what we would call new crime typologies. Are they really new? Well, they have possibly been around for some time. The issue is that they are now overtaking some of the more traditional crime areas. So here I'm referring to your crypto crimes, your cyber crimes, your e-crimes, and the need for policing organisations to dedicate their education endeavours to preparing the officers for these types of crimes. As we are being told by the technocrats around the world, they're not going to go away because they're easy crimes. And so we need to be prepared for these. It doesn't mean that the fundamental crimes have also gone. They haven't. We've still got our, break and enters. We've still got our youth crime. We've still got our, sadly, domestic violence crimes. And they have to, the education for those has to continue in parallel to this new stream of crimes that are being perpetrated, not just locally or regionally, but internationally, as we've seen with some of the very large criminal fraternities. And, they have been around for some time. But what is happening is that in some cases, the police are getting on top of this, and they, by their international partnering that they have, they're managing to mitigate some of the size, if you like, of that international or transnational crime, particularly in terms of the crypto crimes and cyber crimes. The e-crimes tend to be more if you like, managed within the jurisdiction. So when we talk about e-crimes, we're talking about potentially child exploitation, although that can, of course, move across to international. We're talking about, fake identities on social media, those types of crimes that are being, and scams that are being created locally as opposed to internationally. And we're seeing the formation within police organisations of specific e-crime divisions, specific cybercrime divisions. And so when we pair that back to what are we doing about educating our officers, there's two streams to that. One is we're becoming a very technological society. So we're needing to prepare our police recruits to be able to use the technology that is available to them, whether it be an electronic notebook, for example, but also understanding those crimes that are being perpetrated in that online internet environment. Again, it's not new, but it has increased, and it increased markedly during COVID-19 and unfortunately didn't decrease after, we had the resolution generally across the world to the pandemic. They continued. And so that's certainly one of the areas of challenge. The other challenge is about if we've got these crimes that have emerged as significant areas that need to be addressed by policing organisations, how can we see what other ones are going to come down the pipeline to society in the next 4, 10 years, etc.? And then how can we prepare for our policing organisations to deal with those? that there lies a very large challenge about how we can look to the future. And people who are experts in future foresight, for example, they have a place to play in being able to assist police organisations to work through what that education could or should look like for the future. And it's not just from my Australian perspective. This has come from working with police educators across the world.
It's often said that the criminal fraternity move more quickly than the policing and the related communities, and it is difficult. It's a challenge to get ahead of where future crimes might be. One of the great benefits from looking for good and excellent practice worldwide is that there are just by its very nature, there are some jurisdictions that are more advanced than others. It may be in different areas. Some jurisdictions may be more advanced in area A, other jurisdictions in area B. But this international collaboration does help in understanding how different jurisdictions can go about tackling and even preventing some of those future crimes, does it not? So, certainly, in my experience, the UAE, Singapore, very good at looking in excess of 5 years, sometimes even in excess of 10 years out, and understanding what those future challenges might be and how they might be addressed. So you will see through your international work, I'm sure, different ways in which crimes of today and of tomorrow are addressed.
Oh, absolutely. And the other aspect that comes into play here is the size of the organisation, for example, whether it's a large policing organisation and has the, if you like, the physical and the financial resources to be able to dedicate in particular areas. And here we're talking about the future, and that has a significant impact. Interestingly, it is the international partnerships that are created between police organisations that does certainly support some of the less able police organisations to address and to be prepared or to currently be involved in how they might be able to mitigate particular crimes in their jurisdiction. Often these discussions occur, as you could appreciate, in closed doors and meetings and perhaps conferences and congresses that are closed, which they need to be, because we do not actually wish to be able to have access to that from the, as you call it, the criminal fraternity. We don't want to tell them how we're actually going about police
Yes.
work. Those international partnerships between police organisations are absolutely pivotal in being able to globally tackle some of these emerging crimes.
I'm interested just in understanding a little more about how these international collaborations and exchanges and similar come about. I'm aware of some specific international collaborations that uh, take place behind closed doors. Clearly, can't say too much about them simply because of that particular nature. But I also imagine that the sort of interpersonal relationships are quite key. So you, for example, Amanda, will have excellent working relationships with colleagues in the Gulf, in Southeast Asia, and in North America, let's say. And if you are looking to find out about a particular topic, whilst those individuals may not be able to assist, they will probably have others that they're aware of that they can put you in touch with. So those networks are very important in terms of developing that knowledge. And the work that you are doing, for example, on the simulation-based learning for police education, I suspect is very similar in that regard. That uh, it will draw on your network, but it will also combine your network with others. And I guess in this context, I'm interested in how those networks can be fostered in order better for policing to tackle and to prevent those future crimes? What might we do in the wider sense to actually foster those better networks amongst the crime fighting and crime preventing community?
I think, Bernard, that police organisations around the world are doing a very good piece of work in developing those networks, as we've seen with some very successful operations in tackling and taking down some of the large criminal activities that have occurred in recent time. One of the other areas that I consider is important, and certainly those with whom I respect and their expertise have also said this before me, is that joining together the academic community with the police practitioner community can certainly support the development of knowledge in terms of potential ways to address crime typologies, potential ways to look at developing the capacity of their own people in terms of leadership, decision making, and that flows all the way through from the top through to the officer on the front line, because the academics are able to develop the publications, if you like, or the reports that can pinpoint what's happening around the world. Now, police are very busy people, and police leaders are very busy people doing the day-to-day business. And so it looks to the academics, who are also very busy people, but they can provide that knowledge that contributes to helping the decision making of those police leaders around the world. And that's where many are actually advocating that there ought to be more connection between, if you like, academics and practitioners to be able to tackle some of these new challenges that are coming. And part of that is also looking at the sociology side in terms of society, because many of the challenges for police come from changes in societal dynamics, and those in the sort of research domain, if you like, of the sort of sociology, etc., and psychology, and looking at what they can help with in terms of even profiling. So what's the new sort of profile of the youths who are perpetrating significant quantities of youth crime, for example, and feeding that. That's probably not quite the right word, but bringing that to police
Yes.
practitioners to be able to help them with the strategies that they develop in order to combat that particular crime. That's just one example.
It's a great example of how there are many different contributors with different skills, different knowledge, different networks that can advance the cause of tackling and preventing crime locally, regionally, and internationally. And Amanda, we've covered in our three videos some excellent examples of how the academic world contributes to better crime fighting and crime prevention. So uh, we're going to draw a close here to this third video and therefore to our series of three. I just want to thank you for your time. It's great to see you again, albeit virtually. It's some time since we met in person back in Abu Dhabi in around 2019. Just want to thank you again for your thoughts and contributions here on Policing TV, and I'll very much look forward to a time in the not too distant future where we're able to sit down together over a coffee or an ice cream or something similar. But Dr. Amanda Davies, for the time being, thank you so much for your time.
Bernard, thank you very much for the opportunity. And, for those police officers out there, stay safe.